Hello and welcome to the March issue of the Driving Distilled News, where we talk lots of rubbish and occasionally some car news. Today, again with you, Manuel. Thank you very much for joining.
You're very welcome.
And myself, Daut. I actually never introduced myself formally, so people
That's
don't.
surprising.
Yeah, I thought people would refer to me as Driving Distilled if I ever became important enough to refer to me. But yeah, there it is. My name is Daut. I know this opens an avenue for lots of puns and jokes and stuff.
No doubt about that.
Yes, exactly. So if you feel creative, drop a pun in the comments, and the best one will get a Comela, which yes,
That's what we're talking about?
exactly. Half used Comela. And
No, don't do that.
And the thing is, Comela is an institution in Switzerland, so I think you can insult our flag, you can insult our languages, you can even insult our Lord and Savior William Tell.
Right.
What you cannot do is insult Comela. I think there's capital punishment on it. So the best pun will get a Comela. Be honored. And now, I think, by the way, is this advertisement? I mean, we did not tell people where you can buy it. There are no Comela shops, so I think it's okay, right?
Hard to say, actually. I mean, we can make it a bit, or we can soften it up a little bit by saying, hey, you can choose between a Comela or an Ovo Maltina. Maybe that restrains the problem a bit, but who knows?
Okay, yeah, so open market. You can have any chocolate milk you like. With a reasonable price, because I'm pretty sure there's somewhere a chocolate milk out there that costs a fortune.
Possibly.
So not that one. Manuel,
Yes.
what have you been up to the last few weeks?
Right. Yeah. So my channel, I mostly worked on a friend's Evo. For those that have already seen it, so he bought his ex-girlfriend's Evo, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8 to be precise. And there's a bit of a background story to it. It has a lot of rust, and he basically is now working on getting rid of the rust. And I'm accompanying him a little bit whenever I'm there, mostly because on the repo, I'm still waiting for a slot where I can drop off the cap for sandblasting, so we can get rid of all the rust and actually see on spots where we don't see it right now, where the rust is, so we can start mending and fixing it. Main problem with that, like the most shops, they're only open from Monday to Friday from like 6 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They have a bit of different opening times, and that's typically the times I'm working. Therefore, it's a bit of a pain to really get a slot where I can bring it over there. But again, eventually at some point we want to do it. For me personally, the plan definitely is to get that done before Easter, so I can use the longer Easter weekend to work on it. But in the meantime, as I said, I'm just helping out my friend, and I started to create some templates out of cardboard, meaning I'm using CAD, for those that don't know it. It's cardboard assisted design.
Nice.
Greetings to Taylor Ray for this one. And that's what I'm currently doing, besides the obvious working and restrictions being at home situation. Yeah,
have a look again at Manuel's channel, as he's trying to find an Evo 8 among all the among all the rust. Have a look and watch his videos. Now, I have been road tripping. I think you cannot say that because I think this has another meaning. I have been on a road trip with my VW Touran, and while I think it's a perfectly usable car around here, it's not very well suited to long distance traveling. I mean, it's the seats and the lack of power and the soft suspension. So I hate it, but I think I'm not I don't have enough courage. I'm not brave enough to do something about it. So it's just, after every road trip, I say it's terrible and then I move on.
It's interesting because typically you would say on long distance road trips, you want to have a comfy car. You want to get there without back pain and stuff.
Yes.
But that just means that you are a true petrol head then.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. Well, let's see what happens there. If I was an influencer, or I had some, I don't know, some legacy from my parents, some unknown wealth or anything, I could buy one and just say, you know what, I hate the Touran, I'm gonna put it on fire, I'm gonna buy another one. But yeah, that's
So what would you go for actually? I'm curious now. Because you say it's too comfortable or too soft. So let me think, what would I see you in? Knowing you're a BMW fan, so it probably would be something like an X5, X6, or...
But the thing is, I don't like those SUVs.
Okay.
Because they are, you remember one of those issues, it's too high.
Right.
The Touran, so something lower. And honestly, I was thinking about the new 3 Series.
Okay.
So I think that might be a good compromise, but then, yeah, I just can I just say, you know what, I'm just gonna buy a new 3 Series. So
I mean, technically you can.
well, yeah, technically I could, yeah, but yeah, let's push it to some.
Fair enough.
To the next issue. Let's talk in the April issue again and see if something has changed.
All right, let's do that.
Now, quickly before we start with the actual news items, let's talk about some community involvement. Of course, I am not that big yet. People don't know how much, so not many comments. But one thing that was funny is I seem to have jinxed an issue with the new BMW M3.
Okay.
In my video with the M2, I said the carbon fiber strut brace looks very nice, but actually it does not need to be carbon fiber to do its work.
Right.
And apparently some accountant from BMW has watched that, and because Chris Harris posted on Twitter, I think it was, posted a picture of the new strut brace, or the strut brace of the new M3, and it's just, I think, iron or steel. And so yeah, some accountant might have seen that and thought, those pesky engineers, they convinced me to put a carbon fiber strut brace in it, and it's actually not needed. So he canceled that one, and now it's steel. So yeah, if you're wondering why the new M3 and M4, they don't have carbon fiber strut braces, it's because of me, and I'm terribly sorry, and
we know who's at fault.
Yes, I will be more careful with what I'm saying in my videos.
Or could it actually be that they are keeping the carbon fiber version for a faster version of the M3?
No, that's impossible.
All right.
Oh yeah, possible. If they, I mean, what they could do a CS version and a CS or a CSL version or the GTS again, with the half cage and all.
I mean, they will already say 500 grams or something there, right?
Yes, exactly.
So
makes a difference in a 2-ton car.
We had the discussion last time, but
yes, exactly.
Marketing.
So yeah, maybe they save that one for a more expensive version. Other than that, I think not much. So we try to address the sound issue. So we have microphones today. I think the quality is going to be better. I hope it's going to be better.
Hope so.
Yeah. Other than that one, again, feel free to leave comments and we'll bring them up in the next issue. Now let's talk about some motoring related stuff. I'm not sure if this or how big the problem is in other countries, but in Switzerland it's something that keeps coming up every now and then, which is the issue with auto posers, how we call them. So people, mostly young people at night in their fancy cars with the loud exhausts making noise. So is this something that, I mean, we also heard about police crackdowns on those on gatherings and the police confiscating cars that had changes to them that were not legal and things like that. So how do you feel about this whole matter?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan if an engine or a car sounds sporty. So I'm all a big fan of having a bit of a deeper tone or a bit of a louder tone. That's all nice and all. But again, I think it's a matter of respect ultimately, that you're not driving like a maniac in low gear and high RPM throughout the village at midnight. Like, I personally just think that you shouldn't do that. Why? Because on one side, people will hear you, but they will not hear you and find it nice. They will hear you and find it annoying because they might want to sleep, or you might even wake up babies or something. So I'm not a big fan of it. And again, the modifications, at least I'm doing to my cars, they're primarily for myself, that I can enjoy them. So in this case, I'm just restricting myself that I'm either outside the village or in a nice tunnel or in the mountains. Like there are a lot of situations where you can enjoy the nice and loud sound of your car. But yeah, just don't do it in the village, because you're not doing yourself a favor, you're not doing your neighbors and the people living there a favor. And ultimately, you will not do a favor to the police, or actually you are doing a favor to the police. They will have a chance to stop you and have a deep discussion with you on why and for how much you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, and that's something that reflects on all car enthusiasts, right? Because we are then all painted with the same brush. So people, so if I like one of my cars, and I usually try to be careful. I can only drive 50 through a village, or maybe even 60, and that's it. So there's actually there's no point to rev your engine and try annoy people and disturb them. So I think both sides need to calm down a little. So if someone during the day is having a bit of fun, so just let them have a bit of fun.
Go for it.
And all the other people that are in the cars making a racket, just try to be considerate. Then maybe don't do it at midnight. Yeah. And I think people will get along just fine. Yeah,
I think that would help a lot.
Yeah, and we can save ourselves some trouble. Yeah, ultimately, we're all in the same boat. So if there is some new legislation, there always is some new legislation because exhausts are too loud. Just keep in mind, it's your doing as well. So be calm.
Be respectful.
Exactly, and be considerate, and then we don't have to bring this up again, right? And instead, we talk about this new phenomenon, right? Influencers. And there was a scandal, as it should be. Every now and then there should be a scandal, stuff that... we have the autoposers in Switzerland that enrage us, but other countries don't have them maybe. So we need something else to get people's blood boiling. And in the UK, this was the influencer gate. I'm not sure if this really caught on, but the issue that Chris Harris brought up was that somebody... approached his friend Ian Litchfield of the tuning company called Litchfield, and asked him to install a new suspension kit in their Toyota Yaris, and on top of that, they asked for £50,000 and and they wanted money on each suspension kit that Litchfield sell, and this infuriated Chris Harris, and they talked about it in the Collecting Cars YouTube in the podcast. And I was wondering, how do you feel about this matter?
I think that again, it's a matter of respect ultimately. I think that influencer, I don't know who it was, but I think he's just a bit on top of his head right now, because again, I'm all for influencing people that have a certain reach throughout the internet, that they get benefits. That's just normal. Like it has been like that for decades, even with the TV. So I think if the company is offering something for being in the news with someone, that's fine. Even if it's the other way around, if that influencer would have asked to get the suspension installed for a reduced price or even for free, I think that would have been okay. I actually even think that Litchfield would have agreed to something like this. But then to ask literally to get the same car, I assume it's the GR Yaris, the same car in money on top of that, plus a part of each sold suspension for that car, I think that is way over the top. And personally, if I was Ian Litchfield, I would definitely have told him off as well. And I just think that person is lacking respect.
The thing is, because some people on the net said that, it was, they asked and Ian Litchfield said no, and move on. You can see it as that because you could see it as a business transaction, right? And it did not work for Litchfield. But the other thing is also, if you keep in mind that this is a community and the whole petrol head scene, it is a varying development.
Yes.
So you have people now that, do things like that, and then they have opinions, and then you're not even sure now. Well, has he been paid for this? Did he get something for talking about the car or a suspension kit or anything? So it's difficult to navigate all the content that's being produced, and that's what worries me. So one thing is, he asked and Ian Litchfield said no. That's one part, but the other part is what effect this has on the community. And if I'm not sure if one's goal is just to, of course, there's always maybe a business angle on it, that you want to make money off it. That's I think fine, but it's also it might damage the community. Yeah. And I think this is the part that I don't like, and I think is dangerous.
Yeah, fully agree with you. That if you don't know what the influence is behind teasing or spoilering or even showing a product, that is dangerous. Yeah, because then all of a sudden you get very bad products being sold a lot, and that will then cause problems either because they are breaking down, or it will later down the road cause a bad light on the producer. So yeah, I'm actually agreeing with you, and that's why I'm a big fan. If someone is testing something, that he clearly states that, hey, that's my personal opinion, it's not biased by any sponsorship or anything else that could bias it. So yeah, that definitely makes sense what you're saying.
Yeah, otherwise we get in a situation where on YouTube, before you watch every video, you watch some ads, right? But then actually when you skip the ads, you continue watching ads. You know what I'm saying? Because people have been paid to say certain things. And I know this is true, I know this is how the business works, but it's just that, if the whole community goes into that direction, that I'm actually worried about.
It's a valid point. Yeah.
About our favorite hobby. Let's put that to rest, and let's talk about another, let's say, dystopian possibility, a question. There was an article in a magazine a few months ago. I'm not sure which one it was, so I don't want to say anything bad. It was, what would you do with your last gallon of fuel? Or your last 10 liters or 50 liters or whatever? Just what would you do with?
Oh, good question. I guess I personally would, it's indicating a bit that you can use this gallon and then there is no more fuel. So I would probably take the RX-7 and just do a fat burnout. It doesn't even matter if the engine explodes because there is no more fuel you can use after that. So I would probably go down that route.
That's actually a very interesting point. I did not think of that.
Okay.
I was thinking one thing to do maybe, if I would need a tank maybe to do a tour around our Alpine passes. So maybe that's a little too much. But if I only have a few liters of fuel left, maybe go out for a last time drifting and then maybe connect it with your one. So with the last few drops of petrol to, I don't know, do a massive burnout and blow the car to smithereens and and then put it on fire if it's not on fire already and maybe do some barbecue on top of it.
That actually is a good approach. Like, since everyone, assuming that at least that everyone gets a last gallon of fuel, you could actually come together and have a massive party, and basically everyone will be using his last gallon a bit differently. So I would do my burnouts, you would do a bit of drifting. I'm sure there would be other people that would just use their car stereo to create music that everyone can listen to. Again, others would basically just put their service in use and just go and pick up some more meat or beer or whatever is missing. So that actually, if you get hundreds of people together, which would not be possible right now, obviously, but that actually is an interesting aspect, yeah.
I was thinking, one other thing that came to my mind is maybe if some people came together and had a Formula One car, a V10, blast around a track for one final time. That was another idea that I had, but maybe some of the people watching, they have some crazy ideas what to do with your last gallon of fuel.
I would definitely be interested in hearing what the guys are thinking,
Yeah, I would like to hear that. And if you have a great idea, share with us and we'll discuss it in the next
absolutely,
in the next issue. Now, let's talk about cars. We
Right.
talked lots of rubbish until now. Let's talk a little bit about cars. And I think the highlights of the last month were Porsche revealing the 911, the GT3, the new one, and McLaren revealing the Artura. Now, they are pretty different cars. I'm not sure if the price points are similar, but now, if you could choose between one or the other, which one would you lean towards?
Difficult question. I mean, with Porsche, you always know what you're getting. It's basically a very robust car. It's quick, but it's also, at least in Switzerland, it's a bit mainstream seeing Porsches around. Whereas the McLaren has a little bit of, it has this sense, this touch of being a bit less prominent on the street. And again, I personally am a big fan of how McLaren does things. I mean, we had the P1, which was a hybrid already. This car is a hybrid as well. So at least I don't know yet if that might even have some internals from the P1 that they put more into mass production or whatever. But I think I personally would strive more towards the McLaren. To have that bit of sense of being different. But definitely by no means is the Porsche a bad car. It would definitely also be a nice choice. Putting them side by side, again, I would probably strive for the McLaren.
I can see where you're coming from. I mean, the McLaren with its mid-engined setup, these cars always look a little bit, let's say, more menacing, right?
Yeah.
For me, I am too much of a dinosaur to ignore the GT3's naturally aspirated flat six and its manual gearbox. I cannot discard that aspect of the car. So for me, it would be the GT3 all day, every day. If in the future it turns out that they will have to do turbo engines and the manual will die, then I think I would be able to maybe really consider each aspect or the aspects of each car.
Right.
But for now, it's just too much of a dinosaur. I cannot look past it.
I can see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe the next one of the next versions will.
Who knows?
More level discussion. Let's talk about a classic British car company, if I can say that, which is Lotus. Lots of news around Lotus in the last few months. So all their models are coming to an end. They have final editions as a farewell to Elise and Exige. They have announced a collaboration with Alpine from France, and I think this year we will see a new model again, mid-engined, and as they said, the last maybe non-hybrid assisted car. So how do you see this development? How is it? What we will see from Lotus in the coming months or years?
That's difficult to predict because I like how Lotus has been doing things. Lightweight, not overly big-sized engines, decent amount of power. They were super quick around the tracks. So I really like that suggestion or that hint from Lotus on how they were doing things. Now Alpine is not that much different. They were very silent for a lot of years. They 2 years ago announced the return of the A110, which seems to be a great car as well. And so the mentalities of the two companies are very similar. So I would assume that if they put their heads together, they will probably come up with a new layout of a car. Like not layout in terms of where the engine and the drivetrain is, but more that they can reuse the same drivetrain, the same layout, and produce different cars with that. A bit like the Volkswagen Group is doing with their cars.
Yeah, a new common platform.
A new common platform, basically, yeah. So I could see that those two companies together would come up with something like this, which means that Alpine in the future will release either more or different cars. And Lotus, it's pretty difficult to predict because we don't quite know what Geely, as the owner of Lotus, what his envision is with the company. Personally, of course, hope that they will stick to their principle because that's what made Lotus different from anyone else. Anyone else was doing rather big cars. Of course, they try to be lightweight, but they still wanted to also have this at least hint of luxurious in them. Whereas Lotus simply said like, no, we don't need this, we don't need this. We just make it as lightweight as possible.
Yes.
So again, prediction super difficult. I hope they will stick to their principles going forward as well. If it's a hybrid, be it. I mean, the trend on the market is definitely going in that direction. So from a company perspective, I don't think they can neglect that. Otherwise, they would probably not live for very long. But then again, I think there's a lot of unknown at this stage. I'm positive that the guys at Lotus, they will stick to their nature. And again, I'm personally looking forward to see where this is going. And in the meantime, I mean, the old cars will not completely disappear. They will still be around. So whenever I see one on the street, I will still be happy about it. And of course, I mean, the final edition is definitely also something that extends the lifetime a little bit, not too long, but I'm positive that they will go their way.
What I can imagine is with, I mean, one side was Geely investing and the other also with, I mean, in generally how the cars are moving. I'm thinking that maybe they will try to move a bit upmarket. So it's not, I'm not saying that Lotus cars have been cheap, not at all, but I think they will try to go after those more premium brands maybe. So I think that's the only angle that I can imagine they're going. But yeah, I really hope the new car will be a zinger, and I really hope that they will be able to deliver, and I'm confident they will be.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing, let's stay on the island for a few more moments. And Jaguar, they have announced that by 2025 they will be an EV only company. Now, they have had, I think, quite a tough few years, maybe even decades. How do you feel about Jaguar becoming EV only?
I mean, Jaguar has a lot of tradition, a lot of history, and those histories usually involved rather big-sized engines and some really nice sounding cars as well. Yeah. If you think about the F-Type and the I-Pace, well, the I-Pace not really, but it's a modern car which is already EV, though the F-Type has an astonishing sounding car. It's really a nice car. But again, I think also Britain didn't make it super easy for their car producers, especially now with the Brexit and everything. I think this will have an impact as well. But ultimately, the market is trending towards that. Again, I'm not a big fan personally, and I'm also in the opinion that the pure electric drivetrain will not be the future in mid to long term. I think it's more a combination of having electric engines and then the water, what is it called? Water.
You mean hydrogen?
Hydrogen, yeah, exactly. So I think it's more that combination in the midterm that we will see growing a lot. But again, I think Jaguar doesn't have they do have another choice, but I think they want to use this decision to also find themselves again.
Yeah, maybe even get ahead of others, right?
Potentially, yeah.
The issue that I see is that, I mean, Jaguar has always been a premium brand, right?
Yes.
And being in the premium segment is, I think, pretty tough against the big three, big German three, right? So BMW, Audi, and Mercedes.
Right.
And I think that was a really tough market because I think even in Britain, probably the Germans sell better than Jaguars.
Likely.
So I think it's a really tough position to be in. And yeah, as you said, I would be super sad to see the F-Type go because I was super happy they brought it.
Yeah.
I mean, also some performance cars in the SUV segment, even though I am not, let's say, on best terms with the SUVs, but yeah, there are some performance cars, right? And see that go is always sad. As it is sad that Ford Europe, a few days after this, I think 2 days after that, they announced the same, that from 2026, the European Ford cars will be EV only. And now we're talking about the company that gave us the Fiesta ST, the Focus ST, RS in the past.
Yeah.
Well, the Mustang, since it's not maybe exactly a Ford Europe car, maybe has still some life left in it. But in general, those fun hatchbacks seem to be gone.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll soon go on.
the thing is, again, they will probably visually still be very appealing, but they will, at least for me, and I think I'm talking for almost all of the petrol heads out there, the sounds and the feeling of it as just another component that makes us enjoy our cars. And yeah, I mean, that part will be missing. I think the impact on Ford compared to the Jaguar is probably a bit less dramatic. Yes, they had super nice hot hatches, which gave a really nice package, but ultimately they're very wide. Like, they have different segments. They're in the small car segment. They're in the mass market with the Mondeo in this case. They have some how do you call it, like commercial vehicles, the Transit. So they are in different segments, and I'm sure that Ford, even if it's just Europe that will bring mostly or only electric cars, we might actually still have the effect that Ford US might still export some non-electric vehicles to Europe. But again, ultimately it cracks down on where is the legislation going.
Yes.
The legislation, I mean. And there I'm unfortunately seeing that we are moving towards the EV only market. And again, for the brands, it's a normal thing to do because they think that this is the future. To a certain degree it is. But yeah, I think we will hear more announcements like that going forward.
Yeah, probably. But one car and the company around that is still very far from that is Gordon Murray's T50. Right. Now in its T50s form, lovingly called Niki Lauda in memory of the Formula One legend. I know there's not much to say about that car, but do you have anything to say about that one?
Not really. I mean, it's similar like the Ferrari FXXK. It's a track-only vehicle. So I would already be happy to just see it somewhere like on a Geneva Auto Salon or something. I think that would already make me happy. Anything beyond that obviously would be bonkers.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, no, I mean, not much I can say to that really.
Yeah, let's see if anybody will get to see one, maybe get even to drive one, and maybe the big outlets in the UK, maybe they will
possibly
get access to one. And yeah, maybe somebody will be even able to contrast it with the Aston Martin Valkyrie maybe. But yeah, that's stuff of dreams for now. Let's see where it's going. Let's get down to earth, back to earth again with the Lexus, because they announced that we will get a V8 in the IS.
Nice.
It will not be an ISF like the old one used to be, but yes, a naturally aspirated V8 in a Lexus IS.
Nice.
How good news is that?
It's definitely good news.
Yeah, the thing is, they have, very interestingly, they have been running a naturally aspirated V8 through quite a few of their models, and it's almost like people are not aware of that one. So Lexus is, of course, going in that direction like everybody else is going, but still they are keeping a V8 somewhere.
Yeah.
Almost hidden from public.
Right.
And yeah, they made a big announcement that it's coming back into the IS. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how this car will do. I mean, I really hope they will also put some engineering effort into it, make it handle very well. So it is a true M3 competitor.
I think they will do that. I mean, Lexus, as the premium brand of Toyota, they have the genes. I mean, they have, especially now also with GR influencing the cars from Toyota, I'm sure there is the knowledge around it to make it a supercar. Not a supercar, but a supercar. And I'm also really looking forward to see how it looks and how it works really, how it sounds especially. But yeah, I'm super happy that they are sticking with the V8, and it might actually grant them a bit more market share, because almost all other companies are moving away from the V8. BMW, Mercedes, all the premium, also Audi, I think they don't really have anything in the program anymore. So I think for them it's a real big chance. And especially in the European market, I mean, I can't speak about the American or the Asian markets, but at least in Europe, where whenever you think about luxurious cars, you think about the German brands. And Lexus, to be honest, they are not far behind, or they have not been far behind so far. And I have a friend that has an ISF with a V8 in it, and it's a splendid car.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. And again, even the materials that they're using, they are premium. So I think it's a valid alternative to the German brands, and especially if someone wants to stick to a V8 powertrain, you literally have almost no other choice anymore now.
Yeah, that is true. Especially most famously with Mercedes moving away from the V8, which was, I mean, turbocharged, but yes, it's another V8 gone.
Absolutely.
Now, brace yourself for the most amazing segue ever, because we are moving from a car with 8 cylinders, or with an even number of cylinders, to a car with an odd number of cylinders. Oh, wow.
So you're talking about the 3-cylinder Yaris?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm talking about Cupra, of course. Because they're going to put Audi's 2.5 liter, 5-cylinder
Nice.
engine in the Formentor. So, yeah, I mean, we talked about how big fans of SUVs we are.
Yeah, totally.
But you earlier you said, yeah, you have the reason that you like it is.
Well, it's the fact that Audi is allowing a sub-brand from the Volkswagen Group to use the 5-cylinder engine, the 2.5 liter 5-cylinder engine. I mean, so far it has only been Audi with the TTRS and the RS3. I don't think there was any other, maybe an SQ or something. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe the SQ5.
Maybe. I'm not sure, really. I know for a fact the RS3 and the TTRS, they have it. It's a gorgeous engine, and it sounds awesome. And I'm just happy of the fact that Seat is allowed to use it, and that gives me at least a hint or the hope that there might be something like a Seat Leon, or even an Ibiza, which would be absolutely bonkers, but let's not go too far. I think the Leon would actually be a feasible option to have this 5-cylinder, 2.5 liter in there as well. And that car would definitely be a disruption in the market.
I think that's, actually I did not think about that, but I think that's a very, very cool idea. So what they could do is, I mean, put it in the, I mean, of course, they will probably detune it, so it would not be a direct competitor for the RS3, for the hatchback or the sportback. But yeah, putting it in a Leon would make it a very, very cool proposition.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Cupra, make it happen.
Yep.
We would be chuffed to bits.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some good news. So here we have some news of a car manufacturer and a car adding a few cylinders, or in this case only one, but still they are going a bit bigger, so it's always good news.
Definitely.
Especially in these times.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that concludes our the part with new cars and prototypes and rumors. I just wanted to speak about one more issue about in regards to motorsport. So Formula E. I have heard you are a huge fan of Formula E.
Yeah, well.
So the season has kicked off in Saudi Arabia, and let me guess, you were at the track watching the race.
Not really, no. I mean, traveling is restricted to start with, so even if I wanted to, there was not a chance to go there. But no, I have not followed the race.
Yeah, the thing is, the reason I'm adding it here, so motorsport season has started. We will see some racing this year. The thing with Formula E, I used to watch it. The first 3 seasons, I think they were really, really compelling to watch because the racing was good. Well, so it was close results, and I think Sebastian Buemi got second by only 1 point, I think, in the first season. But then the regulations, they allowed more and more individual parts of the manufacturers. I see why, because when you want, if you ask every manufacturer to run the exact same car, they would not be very interested, right?
Sure.
So they try to put some engineering effort into it and gain some advantage. But then the danger is that the racing is not as interesting anymore. And I think that's what happened with Formula E.
Yeah.
I think we're going in a similar direction now as Formula One. You have, well, it's maybe not as, not exactly like Formula One. You don't have only one team that is dominating. But I see that it is going in that direction. And the other thing is, Formula E has moved away from from this modern, let's say from this modern approach maybe, because you could watch the races on YouTube, and now you can't anymore. And now the races are back on Eurosport, on other channels. So
TV basically.
Exactly. So I think they try to get younger people to watch it, but now they have moved it from a young medium to a pretty dinosaur one. And I'm pretty not sure that the young people are watching Eurosport or any other channels. So
I highly doubt that.
Yeah, so I'm really not sure where Formula E is going, but yeah, Saudi Arabia is going places, because not only do they host Formula E this year, they also will host the Formula One race at the end of the year, just before Abu Dhabi. And it's going to be a street circuit in Jeddah.
Nice.
So, any thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm always happy to see new race tracks, or race courses rather, being used. Especially the city courses. I think they just have this additional atmosphere, adrenaline. It's just like, it's completely different than having a wide open track. And here you're in the middle of a city with tall buildings around you. And it kind of gives you the feeling that errors are even more punished than if you are on a racetrack. Now, of course, there's always this little bit of salt of grain that, there are safety features and everything in place. But still, as someone standing on the outside and just watching the whole thing happening, it gives you a bit of an additional thrill, in my opinion.
That's actually a good point, because that's, I think many critics of Formula One say that it's too safe, in a sense that errors are not punished as hard, because you have huge runoff areas. If you think about, what was it, for example, the Circuit of America in the US, or basically any other modern circuit, they are super safe in the sense that, you can have a huge runoff, you can come back into the race, and errors are not punished as hard. That's actually a very interesting point. Let's see how Jeddah will look like. I have no idea how the track is going to look like.
Me neither.
Being a huge city, and maybe with big cities, they will still have huge runoff areas, but let's see.
But again, I mean, we have seen it with the Formula E in Zurich back then. I mean, the roads, everyone that knows Zurich, and they're not always perfect. You have the tram rails in the way and everything. So those are just, again, additional factors that make potentially the race more interesting. And it's not a perfect surface like on other racetracks. So that, again, I think it's a positive development.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely excited to watch a race again on a new racetrack. Let's see how Formula One is going until then. Probably, maybe Mercedes will already be champion by then.
Very likely.
Yeah, let's see. Well, I think that concludes our March news issue.
All right.
Manuel, thank you very much for joining again.
You're very welcome.
Do you have a few last words to utter before we conclude?
Well, what should I say? First of all, thanks again for having me. It's always nice to discuss about what we like in more than being alone. And again, I'm thanking all of you to be part of this journey as well. I'm looking forward to see the next news next month. And of course, always leave a comment. We're always happy to answer them. And this is a community, so feel free to really add whatever you feel like. And as you have seen, Daut will pick them up. We will discuss them in the beginning, and that's your chance to also be part of the video itself.
Yeah, it adds another aspect, right? Engage with people is also very interesting, and hear other opinions. Again, we have talked lots of rubbish as usual. Feel free to correct us on anything, or even add some information of yours. Thank you very much, Manuel, and thank you as well. And see you in April.
See you next time. Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Stand it up.